Hi, Jake. How's it going?
Hi. Good.
Good. Okay, so last time we were here, we talked about how your obsession with Peeps and how that was affecting you and everything else. But from what I hear, you've gotten into some trouble lately. Do you mind telling me more about what happened?
Well, so I was at school, right? And Ricardo and I, we don't get along very well a lot of times, and so I got out of my 10:30 class, and I went to the Union with my lunch pail to eat lunch, and it's really cool. You should see it sometime. It's like all the Avengers, and it's like the coolest lunch pail ever. But Ricardo came up and he spilled his drink on it, but I think it was on purpose. And so I went to Ricardo's house that night and I stole his llama. And so the next day I rode his llama around at school, and I rode it to school, and I rode it around inside the classroom at school, and then I rode it to the teacher's office and tied it up to his doorknob and ran away, and left the llama there, and they didn't like that.
Okay, so who actually came and told you you were in trouble? Who found the llama?
I think the teacher found the llama because he opened the door, and then the llama spat on him, and he didn't like that.
Yeah.
And so I think he talked to someone, and then Burns Hargis called me and was asking me about the llama spit. They traced it. They fingerprinted the llama and found my fingerprints. Whoops. Dirty crime.
So, have you talked to Ricardo since this? Have you...
No, that would be awkward.
That would be really awkward.
Yes.
So you haven't talked to any of his family or...
No, we don't really talk much.
What about your parents? What do they have to say about all this?
Dad thought it was hilarious. He actually gave me the idea in the first place, but Dad never ran it by Mom, and Mom wasn't really a fan, like at all.
Was she the one that came and picked you up at school that day, or?
Yeah, she took my lunch pail also, which just stinks. That was hard. It was.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what are the punishments that you received from this?
Well, nothing really yet. The teacher didn't let me come back to class for the rest of the week. He had to go immediately home and shower, unfortunately. But I think that most of the punishments are still yet to come. That's why I've been actually sentenced to a court date soon, where we're going to be talking about options for punishments. Frankly, I feel like the lunch pail is kind of enough, but I mean, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, Jake, why don't you tell me what you would like to come out of this experience? Obviously, it's been trying on you and, upsetting to you. And so tell me what you've learned or what you would like to learn throughout all of this.
Well, it's been a rough week. And I think that one of the biggest things I've learned is that, forgiveness can transcend all kinds of difficult situations. I mean, even if it is your favorite Avengers lunch pail, it's not worth a llama. And just, dadgummit, it's not worth a llama. And so, I think that I've recognized that that the friendship is the most important thing. And, that's hard with Ricardo sometimes, but it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. So, tell me what are some things that you can do to help fix that relationship with Ricardo? So, Jake, why don't you tell me what are some ways that you can help mend the relationship with Ricardo?
Well, it's funny you asked that. I was actually thinking about a couple options. One thing I think that would be really cool, when I was just a little guy, just a little kid, my grandmother taught me how to knit. We would knit all kinds of things, little pot holders and socks and an abominable snowman that we made that was like life size. It's really cool. But anyways, so I thought maybe what I'd do is tonight I was going to go out to Ricardo's house, and I was going to shave his llama and take the wool, and I thought I'd knit him a nice sweater. I thought that would be a cool gesture, and I thought maybe I'd knit the Avengers into the front of it, just as a sign of repairing that friendship. I think a nice hand knit sweater is a great way to fix things a lot of times. Works for me about every time. But I thought that was a good plan, and it'd be cool because it's actually the llama's hair. I'd need to do a little shampooing also, so that'd be kind of gross. But I thought that maybe knitting a sweater for Ricardo and maybe his family. I'm not sure. I haven't shaved a lot of llamas, so I'm not sure how much hair output there is. But if I have that option, I'll knit a couple sweaters for him and his family, and maybe if there's just a little extra, I'll knit one for his Chihuahua. But other than that, that's kind of my plan. And maybe wash his car, just as a side note.
I think that those are great gestures. I think that's great to incorporate your skill in, knitting sweaters and just preparing those gifts. I think maybe let's try to focus on staying away from the llama. Especially, I know it's like hard and everything, but I think there's just a lot of tender feelings towards the llama right now. And, with you, just with this situation. And so I think just maybe if you used yarn, I'm sure, did your grandmother teach you with yarn or did she teach you with llama's wool?
So Grandma taught me how to use lots of different kinds of wool, different furs of all kinds of animals, everything from, buffalo to ferret. And but we did do some stuff with some synthetic wool, and there's the personal touch isn't there, but I understand that the tender sitch with the llama is.
I love the idea of the gifts, and I think that's great to put your own talents into it. So I think, before next week, I would love to hear that you have done this for Ricardo, and just how that turns out and how he responds, and just reconciling that, maybe even inviting him over to hang out some night or something.
Okay.
Just kind of what you're talking about, like for forgiveness. I think that'd be important for you to show that towards him as well.
So, with more than just the sweater.
Yes.
Maybe hang out a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And also, we'll work on your parents too, and trying to get them satisfied with the situation as well.
Okay.
But it will blow over.
I hope so.
Okay. Well, I look forward to visiting with you next week, Jake.
2 more.
Okay.